Hydra building up to this Bear Barrage so quickly.
Oh!
And asking!
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that line.
Impact se escucha de baja gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We've got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go, figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable!
Good evening, all of you beautiful people out there in internet land, and welcome to day 3 of Contenders Trials. We got a game from Group B coming at you today. It's going to be the newly renamed Vite Ramen Revival up against Regen. I'm Big Hungry Phil, and with me is Chef Billy. Chef Billy, hi, welcome to the broadcast. What have we got to look forward to today?
Well, we have a banger of a match getting ready to be started here between these two squads. And, you know, it's been the story of comically large Crosshair dominating the group. And then everybody else is feeding on for second in the spots below. So we're really looking at what are the teams going to do to kind of set themselves apart from the rest of the pack, apart from the peloton of other teams here in trials. And how are they going to be able to really get over that hump and really solidify their position going towards the playoffs?
So just looking at the numbers here, you're right to say comically large Crosshairs at the top currently with a 2-0 scoreline. Noble all the way down at the bottom with a 0-2 scoreline. Everybody else, after 2 days of play, 1 win and 1 loss. So it's incredibly close in the middle of the pack right now. Revival have a slight edge in this one. They managed to win 1 additional map over Regen, who have only managed to lose 1 map relative to their scoreline. So Revival currently 2 points ahead is the point I'm trying to make out here. So for Regen, this is kind of do or die territory for them, because if they can't get the win here, their scoreline, their overall map win percentage goes down, and it makes it that much harder with 2 days of play remaining to find enough points to get themselves in contention. So everything to play for here, particularly for Regen.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking at, you know, the difference between the two teams, you know, we've seen them going across many competitions here in the past couple of weeks. Revival has really been on a tear. Aspen and company just absolutely dominating some of these competitions. Looking at the 1-1 score for them, kind of a little bit disconcerting and a little bit misleading, as, you know, they have been really on an upward tick going through a lot of these competitions that we've seen them in, you know, Trial of Champions. We've seen them in trials a couple weeks ago. So, you know, this monthly format really playing to their strengths. And, you know, I'm looking for a very competitive match. I'm going to go out there on a limb to say we're going to go at least 4 maps today.
Yeah, maybe even as many as 6. It's an NA broadcast. It's getting late my time. And if there's one thing these NA teams like to do, Billy, it's to keep me awake when I'd quite like to be asleep in my old man bed. But we are getting ready to go into our first map. Of course, we're going to be starting on Control. And for today's maps, we're going to be starting on Busan. And it's downtown to start with, Billy. So what does downtown suggest for you for comps?
I mean, you could run a number of comps here, and, you know, obviously double shield being the meta that it is right now, and we're still playing on the older patch. You know, Genji still very strong here. You can also run the Chinese dive with the Winston and Zarya. I love the flexibility of the composition. I love the ability to go with the cleave up and down, and using the Zarya bubbles more aggressively or positionally perfect will actually lead to a lot more damage being dealt by the Winston player. But I don't think we're going to see that coming out now, as we see a Ball Zarya comp coming out, Phil.
Yeah, slightly heavier variant of that. Whoop's going to be looking for value just around the side. gets a couple of shots in around the shield, and he's just looking to build up this ultimate as quickly as possible. Big misstep there from Ship, gets caught out by a combo there from Buki and Whoop, and suddenly there's a man advantage here for Vite, Ramen, Revival. They're on the chase, they don't care about the point just yet, they want these kills to build up ult percentage, and then they can get the flip, but it's looking like a done deal here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was just a bull there by Ship, and you know, the damage. Once you lose your off tank in this double shield meta, you really should just do a soft reset, get away from the damage that's coming in, and come back with another plan of attack. You know, that's great awareness coming from almost already.
Apologies, everybody. Looks like we might be having some technical difficulties here from Buddy. I'll try and keep you up to date with the action as we come through this. CJ with the early pick here, but ult's now available for Vite. Ramen Whoop can turn the tide here. Not going to throw it in just yet. Instead, Magic Mateball starting things off here with the rally. Aspire now up on the high ground, looking for the run down here, finds the stick. CJ cleverly up into the air to avoid spreading that damage around, but will exit the fight here. Flips through, Whoop finally receives that nano boost, and he's looking to get in and sweep the sword. There's the dub for Whoop as he takes Ship and Lava out of the fight, runs head first into both, but the damage might already have been done here. Don't suppose we've got Billy back now by any chance, have we?
I'm back. You can actually hear me going through that.
Seems like we still have a slightly robotic Billy on our hands, everybody. We'll do what we can to bring the non-mechanical Billy back into the game as soon as we can. But looking into this next fight, couple of big ults on the table here for Regen. Chopper's going to have the blade ready to go, won't have the additional power of the nano boost over the top, and of course he's going to have to wait out Aspen's rally here because getting damage in over the top of that is so tricky. Both with the high noon, can't I see pop that down main, but everyone doing a great job here of avoiding that coming through. Pile driver into the back there from Moopy, throws a couple up. Chopper's going to bring out the sword, but might be too little too late here as Moopy's able to get a quick double on this one. Chopper only found one. He gets run over by the Swift Strike, and this is getting very close to last fight territory here for Regen. Dare I try and summon the spirit of Billy back into the cast?
I do believe I am back in the cast.
Welcome back. Here we go. The end of the fight here, Billy. We'll see one last contest coming through here, but the minefield's over the top from Moopy. Got to make that staircase just a tad harder to walk down here. Trip hazard as well as an explosion hazard. And now, on top of all that, we've got a sharp objects hazard as Wood brings out the blade, finds CJ looking to try and whittle down Ship. Ship, even with the kinetic grasp and the extra health at the top, can't survive that. Boat's not going to be able to keep that going, and a quick 99-18 here on the first point of Busan in favor of Revival.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the first rally coming out from Aspen on there really took care of a lot of the aggression coming in from Regen. However, you know, the ability for them to kite back and just the ultimate economy that they had throughout the entire match or the entire map there was absolutely the key to keep them. I mean, that was pretty dominant, 100 to 18%. Looking at what Vite Ramen did there, and you know, going into Sanctuary, you know, the mobility of Moopy and company right now, I think is proving to be the bit of a difference that you're seeing between the two teams right now, Phil.
Interesting, we've got another adaptation here. Salty this time coming in on the Diva rather than the Zarya this time.
I like it. I mean, once again, you know, it's contesting the high ground. You know, they may have been anticipating a Pharah coming out, perhaps, to give a little bit of a different eye level, but, you know, not seeing that right now. So, you know, there may be the switch back over to the Zarya. However, right now, you know, I like the ability to get up and down and really have the extra mobility of the Diva there.
Dance battle up on top of the drum there. Wolf and Chopper going toe-to-toe, and Chopper arguably getting the better of that exchange, but Wolf now healthy and ready to go for round two. Brings out the breakdancing moves with the slice through there, but it's going to be Chopper away in the back that deals with Aspire. Wolf's going to get the bash, he gets the whip shot, he gets sent away, but he's not going to let that discourage him. Still a lot of damage in there from him and Salty to take Magic Mateball down. Wolf's going to survive one last Swift Strike in the melee to deal with CJ, and I think we're looking at a cap here for Vite Ramen.
Yeah, absolutely. And once again, it's that mobility that I was talking about before that's really giving Regen a lot of problems. Salty being able to go out and contest Magic 8-Ball on the Brigitte, getting low health down from the Shurikens coming in from Wub. And, we said that Chopper got the better of the deals going in there with the Genji 1v1. Almost has Blade online, so that's going to be available to them to try and retake this point.
I love that angle from Aspire. He knew there was a really good chance that Boat was going to be coming through there to try and get a flank, and he was immediately there just to pressure that out. Burns time off the clock, and that's devastating from Lava for this push. Caught out of position too far forward, and we're going to see Chopper living up to his namesake here by bringing out the sword, try and drag this back for them, and he will manage to do it. As the equalizer with Whoop going to go down, self-destruct in over the top from Salty. Didn't find too much value, and we're starting to see Regen with a slight numbers advantage here. Losing Lyre at the back end here almost certainly puts an end onto this push, but what's left of Revival wants to keep hold of this point for as long as possible. They're even forcing Ship to use the Gravitic Flux here just to try and flush them off and actually gain some control percentage here.
Yeah, I mean, he did not get anything into that Gravitic Flash.
Okay.
Okay, Chopper, go ahead and show up, my friend.
Yeah, it's going to be Whoop with a blade here, and he's managing to find two. Whoop might have just done enough here to keep this going, and Whoop is asleep. Whoop completely put down for a nap, and everything thrown at this fight by Regen just didn't work out for them. Aspire ran them down in the final seconds, and now it's last fight territory, Billy.
Absolutely. You do have Supercharger coming in from Lava. Boat will have the Pulse Bomb online, but man, they did not want to relinquish control of it. And that's the never say die attitude that I've seen a lot from Vite Ramen here. And wow, I mean, they're just looking so indomitable right now. I think they came out with a fire in their eyes, and they're absolutely going to take it. Yeah, they've got a touch.
Okay, they've got it. They've managed to tag Ship onto the point to keep this going. And this might be a nice punch back here. It's taken them right to the final seconds of the fight, but they've managed to flip all on the back of a set of heroic picks from Chopper.
Absolutely. They only had to invest the Supercharger into that, Phil. So that's, pretty economical depending on how you look at it. Now Aspire swapping off of the Widowmaker, going on to their own Tracer. So definitely going to be behind in this ultimate economy. Moopy will probably have mines to start the contest with onto this point.
Yeah, he's going to be looking to make some space first and force them back towards the point, so they have to contest through the minefield. So we're a little bit away from that happening. And in the meantime, he takes a phenomenal amount of damage and has to back out and go and find some hamster treats to get himself back up to full health. We'll see Whoop now. Getting very close to this blade. Lyre's got the nano boost. It's going to go on early, and we will see some combo action here. Whoop up into the sky to slice CJ down, clip his wings, and send him crashing back down to earth. We're looking at a 50% cap here for Regen, but Revival starting to find entry picks and looking to get the flip here. Salty did manage to get off the self-destruct here as well, getting remeked, ready to go back. And now it's a numbers advantage here for Revival. And all Regen can do is try and rely on Chopper to get more value with this blade than he found with it, only able to find the double self-destruct in as well to get another mech back for Salty. And this is looking very much like it's going to be Revival taking us 2-0 boost on Busan, Billy.
Absolutely, and just late straggle kills coming in. Looking at Lava swapping. Oh, Boat does get a kill on the Wub though. But I think this is just a matter of time.
Well, it has managed to get both tanks back onto the point, but Salty's able to run Lava over with the mech. And the longer this goes on, the quicker this overtime wick's gonna tick down. And now, if Regen tag off for even a fraction of a second, this is gonna melt right the way down. And Revival are finding kill after kill after kill, and that's it. Busan going the way of Revival.
And I mean, that was just a study in patience and aggression. I love the subtle aggression being shown from Vite Ramen there. Aspen and company really setting the tone here on our control map and being shown how they like to do it. The mobility, I also believe, is what is really killing Regen right now, as they have not been able to speed up to the level that Vite Ramen is showing. I'm loving the mobility from Moopy and Salty. They are just all over the map, Phil, and cleanups from Wub and Aspire. Not much that Regen could do about it.
very little, particularly Aspire there spending a lot of time on that second point as the Widowmaker, which is great when you're on the defense. You know, there were a couple of fights in a row there where just having the pressure from the Widow, as well as having the kills from the Widow, really helped round out even that fight from Revival. So Regen, I think, are looking maybe a little bit hesitant to make some of the swaps they maybe need to make with what Revival are throwing their way. You know, we're seeing this double shield comp coming out from Revival, but from Regen, but Revival are just able to basically run their way through it and get around a lot of the value it's finding.
Yeah, you know, and looking at what they had when they finally did get the point flip, you know, they expended a lot of ultimates, did Vite Ramen, to contain and really get as much value out of that first capture point there on Sanctuary. And, you know, they were starting to build up already, you know, a quarter of the way, a third of the way to their ultimates when the point flipped. And the fact that they got ultimates back so quickly, I think the mobility is really starting to play into Regen's head right now, because you don't know where Moopy was going to be coming from. He was using the grapple to full effect and pile driving onto you know, the unwitting heads of Regen from generally anywhere they wanted to. And then Salty, you know, Salty playing the Zarya as a slower off tank in the first map, bringing the Diva out on the second map, getting the high-low and chaseability, if that's even a word now, you know,
He
giving
might
the
as well be.
chaseability to anybody straggling from the sides. I think that they didn't have an answer for that. You can only whip shot and shield bash so many times, and then, you know, as a brigadier, you're going to go down.
I do think, though, as we move into our next map, which is going to be our payload for day, it's Junkertown, there's maybe a little less viability for a lot of the mobility that we're seeing. We're going to be seeing Regen starting here on the... Revival here starting on the defense. So we can't quite talk about what they're ready to do just yet. But I feel like the mobility is going to be a little bit harder for them to pull off here. But we do have Moopy currently showing that Wrecking Ball pick. So maybe they know something that I don't, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see, you know, what they think they can do that maybe Regen doesn't have an answer for. I don't think that they've solved the question of Moopy. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit more. That's a little bit more standard here on the offense.
Yeah, we've actually got the mirror matchup coming in here, and both Aspire and Boat are going to be lining up the Widowmaker. Nice long sight lines here at Junkertown, but Boat so far unable to find angles. Chopper's going to be playing on the far side here, and it looks to me like Regen are just going to give up this early space and hold at this effective hard choke archway.
I do like the positioning here from them. You know, it's no real use to feed the ultimates of Regen there if you want to do that. So the pushing's got to be real. You know, the coordination has to be there. The shielding, you know, the rotation of the shield is what I'm really going to be looking at here, Phil.
Man, Boat is finding so much value. We're all 5%, and now all the way at that ultimate. Aspire's just not being given a lot of room to work with, but as the fight starts to progress and evolve, Aspire is finding additional value here, has found the pressure in, and now on the front line, this double shield tank approach coming out from Revival is suddenly finding a huge amount of presence. It was a slow and messy fight, but it's worked out here for Revival.
It was absolutely messy, but looking at Aspire on the Widowmaker, getting two crucial picks there in the beginning of the fight, allowing the aggression of Salty to get forward. I mean, Salty was probably on 30 HP, maybe, and used the kinetic grasp to get his armor back up and survive through that, taking down CJ in the last little bit, getting so much value on that. And you've got to really look now. As we get into the streets phase here, you've got the infra sites available to Boat, so they're going to be able to see where Vite Ramen is going to be aggressing from. CJ might be able to lay down some serious fire and get the rest of his team's ultimates up with a well-placed amp matrix.
Both of these ultimates out from Regen are just great for buying that little bit more time. Salty rounds the corner there and comes face-to-face with, well, a shield maiden with a mace with his name on it. He has to back out. Rock's going to be thrown in, but won't find too much here. Instead, we're going to be going for the Gravitic Flux. Finds one, but it's going to be going down into the Immortality field, so doesn't find a huge amount. Nice rock out from Salty, interrupts that follow-through, so nothing coming out of the Gravitic Flux here. Salty still alive, and now, with the help of the Bongo at his back, starting to clear some space. Whoop and Lava able to trade out here, and Aspire is away in the back, looking to try and work through these shields. Finds Lava with a bit of help there from Salty, but stayed too long in one place, and Big takes his head off the shoulders.
Yeah, that's got to be a quick reset coming from Vite Ramen. You know, they don't have the numbers really to keep the sustain up. You know, looking at how they're going to progress here, I need to see a little bit more forward push from these tanks. I think there's clinging a little bit too much to the payload. I know there's a lot of pressure going on there, but you know, a little bit of forward aggression might be able to relieve the pressure on them right now.
We're playing an off angle here, pressuring Regen as he buys space for his team to come through. Now, back into the front line, couple of pesky shurikens into the back of Lava, takes him down, and it's Aspire with the cleanup. Laya commits the amplification matrix, so does CJ, so those both offline for this next fight, but Revival barely stalled out on this push.
Yeah, I mean, there was not very much give or push from Regen there. Looking at Aspire, you know, the lines that they are taking, absolutely denying a lot of the sight lines that you want to see Regen take. They're getting there first and really stopping any kind of forward aggression. Wub, you know, getting a lot of space made as you see the tanks push up. He's going on these weird flanks and getting a lot of value out of the triple shurikens.
Yeah, I'm feeling like Wub's going to be a little bit slower here on generating ultimates, but can't argue with that as one comes online. And he's looking to slice through a couple more. Ship's going to go down here. And that realistically only cost Revival that one ultimate. We do see the Flux committed here as well. But that was great economy for Revival. And now Regen, they are going to have a lot to play with in the next fight. But so far, all the ultimates in the world have not been working out for Regen.
Yeah, I want to see Ship and Chopper maybe work together with this Flux. You know, once he gets the people up in the air and slams them down, Chopper dashing through with the Dragon Blade might be able to create the separation and the assassinations that you want to see happen.
He's had some pretty good blades. Let's see if he can find one more. Ship starts things off here with the Gravitic Flux, and Chopper on the back of that is able to take Salty out of it. So far, that's 2 ults in, 3 once you count the rally, and it's still not a team fight win here for Regen. Their ult efficiency so far lacking here. They've got to start finding more bang for their buck. Chopper's going to find Aspire here, and Boat is still on the hunt, able to find Laya. Chopper comes in with the melee, both fists into his cheeks, and takes him down. And for the first time this map, Regen look like they are in control.
But it looks like they only won that on the back of those 3 ultimates, and then in the neutral, once all the cooldowns were taken out of Vite Ramen, they didn't really have much squeak left in their squawk, and they just didn't have the resources to really keep them up there. So here comes the Amp Matrix out.
Yeah, with that Amp Matrix and Immortality Field, we're going to be ripped out of that by the Pulse Bomb. Ship finds the opening pick here, though, for Regen, and Revival, missing Aspen from it, are going to have to back out and just wait that little bit longer. This is a great stall pick for Regen.
Absolutely, and now Aspire swapping over to the Southern Belle, one of my favorite heroes, to the Ash. You're going to have a lot more ability with the kit. The Dynamite is going to...
Wow, immediately finds a pick, but also gets immediately picked. But this amplification matrix has already been the difference maker here. It's a 2-for-1 trade, a 3-for-1 trade. As CJ gets taken out as well, Rub dips into the back line, finds Tracer, knocks her out of the fight. And the entirety of Revival, they surge back in on a wave of adrenaline, and they're looking to keep this cart going. They're now past the halfway mark with 1 minute 30 seconds on the clock.
And I think that the swap over to the Ash was the answer that was needed to be made. You know, the threat of the TNT is also going to pull out shielding from not only Lava, but Ship is going to have to rotate his shields a lot better to avoid the Dynamite.
Salty with an abuse of the laws of physics here, throws them up into the air, won't find any picks, but they all fall low, and it just turns easy mode for Wub to get in with the sword and slice them all into itty bits and pieces. That's 1 minute and 2 on the clock for Revival, but now Regen are going to get their turn on the attack.
That was filth exemplified right there. That was a nasty little combo of the Flux. And then Wub going in and getting cleanup on aisle 3, taking care of Regen there. And, you know, that's a respectable time here, especially considering that they took almost 2 minutes off the time bank in the stall period. Regen has an achievable goal here. They just are going to have to, get their ultimate economy a little bit better. They're going to have to get a lot more value out of the ultimates that they're throwing out there, because we saw it happen a couple of times here on this map where they threw out multiple ultimates and they stacked them properly. They just didn't get the value that they were hoping for.
And I do wonder how much of that is just Revival with a really good read on what ultimates are coming next, and knowing that, to mitigate the value from the Dragon Blade and from the Gravitic Flux, they just have to play that a little more spread out so they can't all get caught in range of some of this stuff. And if that is the case, that's a great piece of heads-up play from Revival.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the 9,000 IQ play of the day. What I'm interested to see here, with the long sight lines here on point A, Aspire versus Boat. Aspire did not get the better end of the Widow duel on point A last time. And, I failed to find the value at some points. Aspire did get a couple of first picks to get the push started. But after that, not really a factor as they went through the streets phase and then ended up having to swap over to the Ash. So I want to see Aspire versus Boat. Who's going to get the first headshot?
Did see Boat finding a lot more value on the offense. He's not going to have quite the same long sight lines that Aspire's going to have here, so it's going to be down to mind games now. He's going to be looking to get a rotation. You can just see him away in the top right of the screen. He now knows where Aspire is, but has given his position away to Aspire as well. So the mind games continue. They're both going to be tying up a lot of attention, and both got a read on that one, and Aspire's going to go down, but it's 1-for-1 indeed. Well, okay, no, Wub's down as well. There's now no DPS available here on the defense, and this is a great opening now for Regen. If they can whittle down these last couple tanks and supports before the recontest comes through, it's going to be an easy point A cap for these guys.
Absolutely.
Ooh,
but CJ going down. Yeah.
And he means business. CJ's down already. Might be enough here as the rock connects onto Magic 8-Ball. He's alive and swinging though, but Wub gets the dash through. Finds Magic 8-Ball. And at the last possible second here, less than 5 meters from the cap on point A, Revival managed to hold. And this is going to be really, really hard for Regen to get in and manage a recontest.
Absolutely. And the big part of that is that CJ, in the first beginning part of that fight, threw out Immortality Field very quickly. Once Aspire got the dome shot onto them, they put out the Immortality Field very early, and they did not have it on cooldown, and he took a rock to the face and was deleted. That's what stopped that fight right there. Good awareness from Vite Ramen to know that the Immortality Field was not on cooldown.
It says a lot about the relative performance of these two Widowmakers that both already has his Infrasight online and is making it hard for Revival to take space. And that lack of space ability to be taken there means that they're all lined up for the Gravitic Flux. But once more, with an incredibly spicy blade, brings it out, finds two, one with the dash reset, and the payload goes nowhere.
I mean, that is as clean as you like. A Genji in a small room. Once that IF went down, it was game over. See you later. Good night. Go to spawn. That's what you like to see from your Genji. The Flux was invested by Ship there too and got nothing out of it, Phil.
Very unfortunate. But this next time through, Chopper is going to have a blade of their own. Need to be a little bit quicker on the draw, though, as Salty violates the laws of physics one more time, throws them up, slams them down, won't get the pick thanks to the Immortality Field. And with Magic 8-Ball not taken down in that fight, he's able to get the rally online, and the Supercharger comes out here as well. And with the 50% damage bonus, Ship is suddenly opened up here to start to find picks. 2 down, a 3rd down. Aspire away in the back looking for picks, but there's only so much a Widowmaker can do to stall this. And we will see the cap come through.
Now, they did have to invest the Supercharger into that fight to actually get it to point A. So that's a win if you are Vite Ramen. Looking at the ultimate the ultimates right now, we're going to have dueling blades here at some point. Lyre will have an amplification matrix to stall and deny the space coming in from Regen. I really want to see Moopy and Salty work in tandem here and really deny the space coming around this takeaway corner here.
Great forward positioning here from Ship. Stops Revival closing the distance any quicker than they really need to. Ship will, of course, have the Flux ready to go. Looks like it's a bit of a whiff, though. Everyone takes a step back and avoids that particular astronomical event. Chopper went for the blade as well, but again, didn't find anything. and it's gonna be Wub one more time to show Chopper really what this bread knife can do in the right hands.
The bread knife, indeed. And that was just a great rock coming out of Salty there, recognizing that Chopper was on his rear end and decided that he needed to go ahead and rock him and put him in his place. And I mean, that shut down and that's meant to really disrupt and get people off the field. Salty and Aspen in this next fight, though, really, I want to see how they play it.
Apologies, everyone. It seems that we've got Billy's doppelganger here once again, the robot taking over. We'll give him a minute to see if he can overpower the doppelganger and return to the cast. As Aspire starts things off here with the infra site. Has an idea they might be looking to come round the corner, but a quick deflect there from Chopper discouraged them from holding that little bit longer. But this is all great at burning time off the clock. Aspire's going to take this high ground away towards the back, but the rest of Revival, they've taken a big, aggressive forward hold here. Aspire still coming with a rotate, and Revival needs to be careful because they've kind of given up the defender's position here. They've taken up the offensive position, but they've secured themselves a numbers advantage. Ship's going to go down here, and that's the signal for the rest of Revival to start to close the distance and look for those exit frags. Once they stall this out, Lava and Magic Mateball both down here, and we're now the minute mark. We're stalling out here on point B for Regen. They've got to dig deep and find this extra momentum.
And I mean, really getting Salty and Moopy going there, using their ultimates into combination with each other. Aspen did not have to invest the rally there, so that's going to be a huge ultimate on the line as we come into 40 seconds left on the time bank for them to get through to point B. And I don't know if they've got really much in the bank. Matrix might be able to seal the deal.
Yeah, square for square here, but the space mostly being taken by Revival as Regen back away from the answering amplification matrix from Liar. We're also about to see potentially a fencing match coming up here. Chopper and Wub both with the blade on Lion, and it's going to be Wub pressing the advantage, dashing through, takes out both deployables. We're going to see Chopper bring theirs out towards the end of the point. No kills out from Wubs. Does flush out a lot of utility, but hasn't done the damage yet. And in fact, it's going to be Chopper finding the pick onto Aspire that starts to dictate the flow of this team fight. We're in overtime, and Aspire's having to come back in on the Tracer just to assure this recontest. There's a few meters left to go on the payload, and Salty is desperately looking for this last bit of damage to get the Flux in. There's the contest. There's the Flux looking for the hole. It's not going to come through, but he's got 3 in his sight. Looks like he got a couple thrown up into it. Wub is able to find CJ. He ducks back down onto the point, throws in the rock, and Wub is starting to clear things up here again. He gets the double. Salty and Liar in on the action. Halts to take them off the point. And that is going to be Revival getting the win with Regen knocked off of the cart a scant few meters from getting a crack at point C.
I mean, it was just one double jump that I think that Chopper needed to get back onto the point there. He just wasn't able to do that, Phil. But let's talk about the rotation that came there from Salty, going around the back and with Liar and being able to just absolutely destroy the back line. That Flux came out at the right time, and it pulled out so many cooldowns from Regen. They just didn't have anything else to struggle with. And Aspire, coming back on that Tracer, getting enough irritation into Regen's squad there that they just didn't know where to look.
It's been a really unfortunate showing for Regen so far this evening, but Billy, we are a long way from done yet. We've got at least one more map to go, and of course, map 3 is where the reverse sweep is likely to start, if it's going to start at all today. But whilst we give our teams a couple of minutes to shake the stress out of their wrists, we're going to throw it to a quick break, but don't stray too far from your screens because we're going to be right back.
Shutter, let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%. Right now with Hydra building up to this Bear Barrage so quickly. Oh, and asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact se escucha de abajo gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
end. After 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable!
So you queue up for Overwatch Ranked, only to be greeted by this, which then leads to this, and oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing? The solution? Elo Hell pickup games.
Hey, you know what? Just
Oh my god, it's huge! Oh! Kill! Let's go.
Open to players of all ranks and most platforms, Pugs give you the chance to experience competitive Overwatch as it was meant to be played, competitively.
I need help.
I'm with you.
Shoot.
No way, dude.
Go. Let's go. Nice. Good call.
Players set their icons to indicate the role they want to play, then 2 captains pick their teammates and draft the most competitive teams they can. You can also take part in our pioneering learning event, Coached Pugs. To take part, join the Elo Hell Pickup Games Discord and be sure to read the Pug Guide and FAQ. Good luck, have fun, and we'll see you in-game.
Welcome back, everybody. Here we are with the third and, well, potentially last map of the series, Regen versus Revival in Group B, Days 3 of NA Contenders Trials. And if that's not enough descriptors for you, Big Hungry Phil and Chef Billy still with you. So, Billy, looking at this, we've got a 2-1 scoreline in favor of Revival. What have Regen got to do to start bringing this back?
I think that the aggression has to be a little bit more. I think they may be playing a bit too passive when they go into these team fights. Looking at Lava and Ship on the tank line, they seem to retreat a little bit too much behind corners, and instead of going out there and going at Moopy and Salty. Also, the accretions that are coming from Salty in particular have gotten even sharper since the last time that I saw him in Trial of Champions. He is absolutely lethal with the accretion. Chopper is doing Chopper things, getting some value out of the Dragon Blades. Maybe running an Ana and getting the Nano Blade onto him might be a better choice. Magic 8-Ball doing Brig things, and I think popping the rally at really good times. Could you bring out, if you were going to be on the defense here, could you bring out a Junkrat on defense for the first point? That's something that might, shake up this up a little bit. A little bit of shield break needs to be in there too. I don't think that they're concentrating on shield break as much as maybe what other teams are doing. Bringing in Ash would also help in that, getting the TNT and the AoE damage from that. I just think that Revival is on a tear right now. I know that they have lost a match. I mean, they're up 2-0 right now, and I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be 3-0. You've got to see a little bit some kind of change coming out of Regen. I think being bold is the way to go here, and drop the stones and let's go. That's what really needs to happen here.
Dropping the stones is particularly apt. We're likely to see 2 Sigmas coming out here on Anubis as we move into our control map for this evening. And I think you're right to focus a little bit on shield break there. I worry, though, the idea of bringing out one of these more niche map-specific heroes like the Junkrat is, if it doesn't find value initially and you lose point A, you also give up an awful lot of ult percentage and you can find yourself being snowballed on the back of it. So it feels like a really high risk, high reward strategy. And when you're at 2-0 in the series, like where's your mental on this? Do you sit and say, well, we've been running our routine and that's not working, let's pull out all the stops and see if we can get a fluke win here? Or do you stay the course and just try and pick out the mistakes you were making in the previous rounds? Because at this stage in the game, for Regen in particular, a loss here really, really heavily impacts their chance of moving up into contenders.
Well, especially since you're in the group stage here, Phil. Every point counts. Every map point counts. Really? So if they go down 0-3 here, that's going to be absolutely horrible for their map differential. They're going to go to 1-2, and obviously that's not ideal. I mean, there still is a mathematical possibility that they could get into the playoffs from there. But Revival, of course, you're riding a wave of adrenaline, emotion, positivity, anything that you want to say. And, they're looking to really put their foot on the throat of Regen right now and close it out 3-0.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the numbers here. I was going to say there's a world here where after today's games, Noble and Regen may swap places here, but Noble are actually going to be playing Comically Large Crosshair. And as much as I like the Noble guys and Moose in particular, I do feel like that's a very difficult matchup. So they're unlikely to, even if they get 3-0'd here, Regen are unlikely to be at the bottom of the pile, but they're certainly towards the lower end of the pile. And I think that's probably enough of us trying to give some context as to exactly what's on the line here, as we are just about ready to start off this match. And we're going to be seeing Regen sticking on the defense here, and no wrinkles on this one, Billy. Nice and smooth, as we saw in the last round. It will be the double shield Genji poke with the Ashe.
Well, I hope that they can single out and really take down the members of Revival here, as right now they haven't shown really the ability to do that on a consistent basis. They've had flurries and flashes of brilliance coming out, but so far it's been the Revival show. If you look at both the 2-0 on Busan and then the 3-1 victory on Junkertown. So they're going to have to really get into it and really single out who they're going to take down.
Yeah, it's going to be time to see exactly how deep the pockets are for Regen and how deep they can dig. Revival with the rotation through the Dark Room over the Mega Health Pack. See a little shield trade here for a while. Salty looking for a bit of charge there, but instead takes a bit of TNT, and no amount of sugar in the world is going to help that one go down smooth. Regen push right back on through, and Revival back to spawn to think that one through again.
Indeed, and I mean that was just focus fire. And once again, here's the Ashe difference. Boat already almost 40% to the Bob off of one halt dynamite combo. And looking at when they was going into it, Salty had already used his kinetic grasp to get into the Dark Room there, and he didn't have it available. His shield went down. Down they go, back to spawn.
Oh. Hello, Boat with the cheeky angle here. Probably not going to be looking for the Ashe up on that rear high ground. Of course, if they do spot him, it will be problematic. Sending Whoop to deal with him could net an easy man advantage. Looking for them all to come through, wants to stick that TNT in where it can find the most value, and they sent Whoop up for him. They knew he was there, and they get the pick. Some damage done with the TNT, but not enough as Whoop finds the dash reset, takes Chopper out of it. One more swift strike, and that is gonna be it. It only took Revival 2 goes through to cap.
And that was such a great position there from Boat, but I mean, it was just a one-time shot. You knew once the dynamite came from above, they were going to send up the Genji to take care of it. looking at the ultimate economies, there is a very real possibility that we could have a snowball on our hands. Liar's amplification matrix is going to be the key here as to how they aggress and how they approach this point.
There's a little bit of a stall coming out here as we do lose Aspire towards the back end of that one, but honestly, on your approach through here, it doesn't cost you too much to allow Aspire to get back in, and having the Bob as an initiation tool as that 7th man on the field is absolutely huge. And Regen now are desperately trying to play a couple of different angles here to keep Revival out of the fight. Whoops now got the blade. Looking, I think, into the back for where the supports are. Takes a bit of flak on the way in. Swift strikes away from the Gravitic Flux, but now that everyone's survived that, we might see them throw this in. But Boat gets the entry frag, and Chopper brings out the blade one more time. They will find the picks here. And Revival sensibly hold on to everything except... Actually, no, they use... No, I'm going to take that back. They use a lot in this fight. It was a lost fight for them, and they threw 3 ults at that one.
Yeah, I didn't see when Aspen had actually invested the rally into that. I know that Liar tried to use the Amp Matrix to get some further damage downfield, but Ship using the Gravitic Flux there, I think, was the key ultimate that got dropped out. Other than the Blade, you're going to have Amp Matrix, or I'm sorry, you're going to have Supercharger and the Gravitic Flux and the Blade. I think you use the Gravitic Flux to bring the Immortality field out and then go in with a Super Blade and clean it up and take it in a licking fast time.
But before they can do that, they've got some distance to close, and they're going to have to try and close that into the Supercharger, but they bait it out and they start to move backwards. But Ship is not going to let Wub get away from that, but the rest of Revival, they make themselves scarce, they go around corners, and they're going to stop Regen getting any more value.
Indeed, and I mean, now Rally has also been coming out from Magic Maypole, so they don't have that available. All they've got to deal with, really, I mean, you're going to have the Blade coming up here very shortly. So, you know, Chopper has been getting a lot of value. Yep.
Finally going to see that Gravitic Flux out from Salty, and Aspire is able to find CJ. We're going to see Chopper bring out a Blade here, but Wub!
Wub
With the triple. But both starts to punch back here. We're going to ask them both taken offline, and this has been very expensive. If this isn't a fight for a win for Revival here in a dominant fashion, then they're unlikely to win it out here. But with the Amp Matrix online, they're in a really good position here to start to stop this stall coming back through. They're getting the picks here. They've already got 1 tick on the table. There's the Flux out from Ship now. Makes it a bit of a shooting gallery, and the damage is done there. The slam down is massive on top of the 3 that got caught in it, and that will be the hold here. 1 tick only gained for Revival.
Oh, Moopy, I think you're caught out here, my friend. Oh, dear.
It's
That's
all
a
in the
stagger and a half. Oof. Yikes, you hate to see it. Boat did get another bob up in the interim of all that nastiness onto Moopy. They did get a point of permanent progress, though, so not completely empty-handed coming out of that fight. But the ultimate bank has been absolutely depleted. Aspen's going to be the one with any kind of value with the rally. They're going to be able to, you know, eco push on it. I don't know. Looking at Bob, looking at the Blade coming up too.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation to be in if you're Revival. You're going to have a rally to match the rally here from Magic Maypole, but that's kind of it. We've got to have, as you say, an eco push, and I'm thinking that Boat doesn't want to let them get that opportunity, sends the Bob away into the backline and takes Salty out, and he's going for the angle here, gets in behind them, and that's a great fight win here from Regen.
Yeah, and here's what we were talking about in the intermission, and when we came back for the pre-match here. They're getting a lot more aggressive here on point B. And obviously, you know, it's one of the harder points to take here in the Overwatch realm. Point B of Anubis, so stingy, so favoring of the respawn for the defenders. They're going to have to really marshal their resources and get a push here. I'd say in about the next 20 seconds is where we're going to be looking to see if they're going to be able to get another tick.
Yeah, this is absolutely last fight territory here for Revival. Ults looking pretty even across the board. Aspire with a big TNT here could get the Bob, and that might be the difference maker. Whoop takes a bit of a poke on the way in, and it's going to be deflect into deflect there. The 2 Genjis bouncing off each other. Whoop still holding on to the blade. Chopper now with one of his own. Ship's able to get that Gravitic Flux online that little bit quicker. Revival now, they want a last-second contest here, but they might not get it. This might have been a brilliant Gravitic Flux here. There's nobody. No, we get one person tagging on the contest going, but Chipper has done the damage here. Sorry, Chopper, just because he's looking Chipper with the blade doesn't change his name, but a huge part of how that worked out for them at the end.
Yeah,
One benefit here is that we're not going to see a repeat here. We get one tick done. There's now a win condition on the table for Regen.
You know, and it all started off with Ship's absolutely brilliant placement of that Gravitic Flux once he launched everybody in the air. Chopper was ready to go with the blade underneath. Like we said, there was not much that they had, that Vite Ramen had on the board to contest any of it. So, you know, win condition set, you get 34.6% of a second point. You take the map, we go to map 4. However, I'm going to see what kind of fire in the eyes are going to be shown from Vite Ramen on the defense, because they did have the tools at points there. They just weren't able to connect all the dots, and the stall that came out from Regen at points, you know, really denied them any significant progress on their progress bar on point B. So we'll see what they bring out here in defense.
I feel like one of the things that really worked out for Regen in that last point B defense was they finally got a handle on rotating their ultimates. A lot of the fights previously, they've just been like, well, okay, everyone's got Q at the ready. I guess a couple of people can press this fight. We don't really mind who presses what when, just somebody bring out an ultimate. They looked a lot more disciplined on this defense. If they can keep this discipline going, this might be where we see this point start to flip. However, Revival's turn at the defense now. They've got the high ground, and this is a notoriously difficult choke to get through if the rotations aren't pixel perfect.
Absolutely, and also looking at both on that last, you know, really great rotations with the Ash. The dynamite was coming in from so many different locations. They didn't have a clue of where it went.
Apologies, everyone. I appear to have lost my feed momentarily. Hopefully that's back with us shortly.
Yeah, mine is also gone away.
Okay, well, rest assured, guys, the match is still going on, and as soon as we are ready to bring you back into that, we will do. But man, what an awkward time to stop, because I think we were just about to see that push through here from Regen.
You know, and looking at the two teams right now, you know, Aspire and CJ doing the most for both their teams. This CJ healing up Aspire's TNT that was thrown in there.
So apologies, everyone. This is looking maybe slightly harder to fix than we initially thought it would be. I believe we may be in a position here to have to throw to a short break while we try and iron this out, and hopefully we're back in time to bring you some more of this match, or who knows, maybe Regen are going to cap this one out and we'll bring you the map after this one. In the meantime, apologies for the delay. We're going to throw to a break and be back as soon as we can get this fixed.
shatter. Let the bodies hit the floor. Uprising Academy at 95%. Right now with Hydra building up to this Vera barrage so quickly. Oh, and asking.
Double kill in the back with the pulse bomb from the high ground. Aerial assault with that mine.
Impact, se escucha de baja gritar campeón a Sky Foxes.
Holy cow.
And after 42 consecutive losses, the Shanghai Dragons get their first win.
8 teams enter this weekend.
Oh no, Reinhardt, what are you doing?
We got a clip with minimal information. It's time to break it down. Speed, 25%. Go. Figure out what this man's SR is.
Keep fighting till it's for sure lost. Winnable!
Welcome back, everybody. Don't worry, the fires have been tamped down, the explosions stuffed back into the barrels, and the ducks unkicked back into position. And we should be ready, hopefully, to bring you the game. And as luck would have it, our team saw the observer leave the lobby and paused not long after. So we should, in theory, not have missed too much of the action. So, Billy, where were we before we left?
I believe that we were on defense. We had Vite Ramen on defense. I believe that Aspire had landed a TNT shot onto the unwitting heads of the of Regen.
Yep.
And then I also believe that CJ was in the process of healing up said damage. So that's where we're at. They were starting to go into the small room, trying to get to dark room, making that right-hand rotation if you're looking at it from the defender side. So that's what I'm looking at. That's what we're probably going to jump back into. I'm not sure. It's been a minute.
Yeah, we're unsure yet exactly how much more game happened whilst we were waiting. But we should be about ready. Actually, wow, it looks like we've got a point A cap under the belt here for Regen. So we're looking to come through on their attack into point B, Billy.
Yeah, and looking at the time bank, 3 minutes and 8 seconds. I don't see any other information given to me right at this moment, but we will have it up here shortly, I'm sure. But I mean, 3 minutes and 8 seconds on the time bank. That's not a bad time to go into point B with. Oh boy.
Oh wow.
That is, yeah. That's a bit of a snowball potential there, Phil.
I mean, really, if you're Revival here, you've got to hope that Salty gets this online incredibly quickly and gets a couple of picks here, because otherwise this is a big old snowball and the reverse sweep can start now for Regen. Clearly they lost a couple of people at the back end of the fight, but it's not really done much for Revival's ults just now. So here's the rotation coming in from Regen. They're looking to go straight up mid, opening things up with the amplification matrix. This is Arrival away from this choke and makes things that little bit clearer. Chopper on the high ground, sees Liar up in the air. Immortality field committed and summarily dealt with here. Chopper in trouble, low health, dancing against the Shield Maiden. And this is looking very heavily like it's favoring Regen on the offense. But what brings out the blade? Finds CJ, wants to now deal with Lava as well, who procs the Fortify. Still not out of the woods just yet. Chopper's still alive, taken out by Salty. And that, Billy, honestly, was the best case scenario for Revival. Somehow they dragged that back.
I mean, Aspire got their Bob on in the mid fight there. And I think that's part of the reason why Chopper's blade wasn't as effective as it could have been. Also, the pressure coming from Aspen underneath, getting a whip shotted off the point, and also Shield Bash took that fight away from Chopper. So, he's already 63% to another blade, though. He's gaining these almost on a cooldown. CJ. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, Chopper might not be getting the most impactful plays, but he's getting a lot of them. And, monkeys and typewriters here, you try the same thing over and over again, you will eventually get the result. And he's going to have this ready in this next fight. We've now got just over a minute on the clock. So that one fight took nearly 2 minutes off the time bank. Here's Ship starting things off once again, trying to get some damage in through the amp matrix, but Chopper goes down just as the fight starts, and that's disastrous. Chopper is the tip of the spear here. Without him ready to go, you're likely to take a lot of flak on the way through. Revival, they spot an opening, and they're coming in up onto the high ground for Aspire. Sees the Hulk come through and just fires on into it. And now 40 seconds. I can't believe how close this was for Regen.
Yeah, and I mean, the beginning of that fight, Aspen letting loose with the rally, keeping everybody up. That armor boost kept the team alive, and they were able to aggress as they needed to when they needed to do it and be able to push from Regen back off the point and back to spawn. What a huge halt coming out of Moopy, laying them in all to the line of sight and just taking so much damage. You're going to have Flux, Blade, and Supercharger.
The Hulk combo with the Flux. The zoop in, the zip up, no picks on the back of it, but now Immortality Field is down. Chopper gets stunned out, forced back, and so far it's Whoop with a better blade. Chopper gets the better of that exchange, and they're starting to find the picks here. Ship going to be looking for a few more ticks on his ult here to get this ready to go as Chopper takes Laya out of the fight. There's a lot of presence here for Revival and for Regen. Chopper's able to find 2, and it's now all about stalls coming through for Regen. But with the big flux, gets 3, and that is it in the final few seconds of the fight. Regen, they finally get their name in the books.
You know, and Chopper taking down Wub mid-blade was the turner of that fight. There was nothing more left to be done. I mean, if Wub gets that last amount of damage going through with the blade, I think that we're looking at a 3-0 score. However, that is not what happened. Chopper said, not on my watch, buddy. And goes ahead and takes the blade through the team and absolutely crushes them. And I mean, Ship there at the very end with a 3-piece on the Gravitic Flux. That is how you close out a map. That's how you get your name on the scoreboard.
You got the impression there that Ship was just like hammering that Q button, going, come on, line, come on, line. And then it just came online, and he getting 3, like getting 1 probably wouldn't have been enough there. The fact that he got half the team in that is absolutely what made that happen for Regen. So they've got their point on the board. This is where the reverse sweep could start, Billy, but for now, Regen have to continue to play this pixel perfect. Giving over 1 map here takes them out of the running. But at the very least, they've made this a less devastating scoreline for themselves.
Absolutely. I mean, they still got a point. So, I mean, it may come down to points once we get to the end of the group stage. You know, this 1 map point win here might be the difference between them going to playoffs and going home. So, you know, everything on the line here for them. Looks like we're going to go to Blizzard World, Phil. And what we saw, especially out of Boat that last map, seeing the Ash play, getting the rotations, getting the lines of sight, even when it wasn't the most conducive to their health, they did get the frags, they did get the pressure, they did get the TNTs in where they needed to go. And that's what I like to see. And the use of the coach gun to go from high to low also, Boat showing a little bit of a masterclass there on Anubis of what we saw.
Yeah, absolutely. We in theory, we missed 1 fight because they came in with a 3-minute time bank coming into point B, and they were on their second push through. So I feel like what we missed there was a very messy fight on point A, and we came in just as that rounded out and the point B came through. So I'd love to know what happened in that, because there was a lot of ult charge on the table for Regen. You know, normally you've got to use a lot of those to take point A, but that's in the past now. Anubis can't hurt us anymore, everybody. We're ready to go into the next one, and it is, as you say, Blizzard World. And, well, looking at what we've got coming out the gates here from Revival, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised. It is that meta comp, locked and loaded, ready to go.
I like to defend.
Oh, dear. Once more, Billy's doppelganger has taken to the microphone to interrupt his otherwise silky smooth voice. Unfortunately, we're going to just throw to me for now whilst we wait for Billy to kick the doppelganger out away from the microphone for now. Regen on the offense here. Expect Chopper just to get an early TP, either to gain a little bit of space or maybe just for an angle for boats. Yeah, early space and Chopper immediately back over onto the Genji, but having seen that Revival weren't up on that early high ground on the right-hand side, they're just going to go back up through the Mega Pack rotation through Vikings Lost and Found and start to make their way over to point that way. Big Hulk comes through. Rock isn't going to connect that time, so they get a little bit more of a free pass through onto this one. And Boat taking a wide angle here. Picks up the Mega Health Pack, ready to go into the next stage of the fight. Mostly just staging here from Regen so far. Tank starting to push up a little ways now, and a big TNT comes through from Aspire, but Boat currently leading the charge in ult charge on this race as well. Nobody's seriously committed into this fight just yet, and if they're not quick about this, Revival are staring down the barrel of having a Bob thrown their way. They've already got to deal with the amplification matrix. We'll see the tanks press forward, and Aspire takes an angle around the backhand side looking to get a pick, but it's Liar that's picked out first, and this is not a good start if you're Revival. You needed that in play. Wub's able to find CJ and get the equalizer, but it's too little too late without that bulk healing on board from the Baptiste. Revival are starting to crumble under the pressure, and it's looking like an early tap here from Regen. Whoop's still in this fight for now, generates a little bit more ult charge. We'll have that on board ready for the next fight, but Regen handily winning that fight. Dare I ask if we've got a Billy back in the chat ready to go? Seems like we might be getting a full-on reset here from Billy. So for now, I'm afraid, guys, you are stuck with me. Not a lot of difference here in ult charge. A couple of differences here and there. Ship still a couple of rocks away from getting that ultimate online, but otherwise pretty level here. Maybe we see some slightly defensively favored ults. Ideally, you'd maybe like the supercharge to combo with the blade, ready to go here for Wub. Although he's been doing some pretty good work in the neutral. We'll see the cart get a little bit of progress here as Revive don't want to give up control of the high ground just yet. Whoops now away into the back, but he gets scouted out. But an early couple of picks here as Aspire and Fire deal with Lava and Boat means that it's time for Revival to start to press forward. And they're taking up an early aggressive hold here. And this is going to make this very, very hard for Regen to get in a good position to retake the cart because they're not being allowed to make this rotation. And Revival pushing right the way up into spawn. Let's see both throw in the bob, and in fact it is go time on a whole host of ultimates here. Whoop still holding on to the blade for now, and Aspire rounds things out with the bob. Whoop over the top into the back lines with the blade. Does the damage there to deal with magic. Mateball won't get the kill credit, but does a lot of the lifting here as Whoop scores out of the dash reset and sends Chopper back into spawn. Yeah, pregnant pause there, waiting for Billy to get back in, but it seems like we're still working out some of those kinks. Looking to get on into this next fight, though. Regen, they've got a nice fight-winning combo here if they can get this off in the right position. But look at the aggression here on the hold from Revival, and they are committed to this. They know they had a substandard point A, and they want to make this an above standard point B and just let that payload inch its way back and back. They've committed the supercharger. Hasn't done a lot of damage here. So we've got no DPS ultimates online just yet. And now with that off the table, we're going to see them take the low ground. Throw in the amplification matrix to try and buy a little bit of cover here to stuff up the rotation coming out from Regen. And they're now taking that high ground position again. They don't want to give up any of this progress at all. Chopper's going to get the rock as he tries to swing through with the sword. Will get stunned again and nothing out of that one. They also threw in the supercharger. They threw in the rally. And it's taken a bit of work, but they are starting to find the pigs here. A couple more members of Revival left over on the high ground. Whoopi's going to go down last, but look how far that cart has moved back. Look how much time Revival have been able to burn off the clock here, and they're still having to deal with Bob. Won't be alive for too much longer, and the payload's starting to move here, but a solid couple of minutes that burn off the clock by Revival.
Well, I have popped off my doppelganger out of my dang chair here. And reclaim my space, reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time. Looking at where we're going out there, that is a huge stall coming out from Revival, though. And Salty's going to have a Gravitic Flux to stop the ingress from Regen here. Ship might be able to counter back with his own Gravitic Flux. Ooh. However, that's a huge stop coming out. Nope.
Yeah, I was ready to call that Bob just a distraction, but he will pressure down Wub, and all that hold time gained at point A is sadly crumbling here for Regen. That was a great, crumbling here for Revival. That was a great push through from Regen, who come through this with ults to play with.
Yeah, absolutely. And now they're starting to push forward into the spawn, absolutely disrespecting Revival right now, saying, this is my spot. I'm not going to let you go any further. Yeah, you're just going to go ahead and stay here. They can actually set up here and allow the payload to get around this first little bend. And there's not going to be much that they can do about it. The amplification matrix could be a huge stall there for it, though.
Well, you know, it buys a bit of space, but all it really does is it forces Regen back onto the cart here. But it does bring them into the line of fire of that Gravitic Flux, and Aspire takes up the clay pigeon shooting hobby and finds Lava whilst up in the air. Here's Ship on their go through this. Chopper throws in the blade, so they stack those ults together, and it's a quick 1-2 punch here from Regen. Moopy trying to burn some time off by coming in to stall out the cart, but it's only bought them a handful of seconds. But Whoop here is proving incredibly difficult to shut down. He ducks, he dives, he dashes, he gets the blade out and finds Chopper, and Whoop just claws that back from the brink of defeat.
How do you allow him to do that if you're Regen? You just got owned by a couple of dash resets and a prayer from Wub, and he absolutely let loose with the dragon inside of him. Man, that is putting the team on your back. But getting back to the action at hand, Lava's going to have the supercharger to start the aggression going into the last part of Blizzard World here for you.
Supercharger down from Moopy very quickly. Ship able to deal with that. Here's ults available now for Regen. The Bob's already out. The Supercharger is already out. It was a nice ult, but it wasn't enough to secure any follow-up damage. And Ship around the corner, safe from being interrupted, is able to get the Flux onto a handful of people there. But it's going to be Aspire with the Bob that starts off the picks here. Salty with a Flux of his own finds the double. Up in the face of his opposite number, takes Ship out of the fight. There's the Hulk, with 2 in the kill feed. We're down below the 30-second marker here for Regen.
And I mean, you gotta love that. Aspen and Lyre are waiting for the amplification matrix to get out and waiting through the flux, and then letting loose with their own rally and amp matrix, and Salty getting a huge flux in the middle of it. That is how you defend this last point here, Phil.
I'm looking at Chopper. He takes a stun, but he's got the blade online, and it's out super quick. Away in the back, he gets the double. He catches Aspire and Salty out of position. We're into overtime, but there is a big old man advantage here in favor of Regen. But Wub once more brings out the Sword of Destiny and finds Magic Mateball, and now he's looking to target down the one remaining support. Gets the melee pick and deals with CJ. There's a big advantage now for Revival. They're in control of the cart. They ward out Bob. Salty's on point to absorb this damage, dish out a punishment of his own, and look to try and round this out here. But Regen are still in this fight. They've still got a couple of people available on the point. It's going to be down to Ship looking for another one of these heroic last-second fluxes. It doesn't come through. They're still in this fight. Ship generates that little bit more health here and is looking to find picks. He's going to get Aspen. Aspire now in on the Doomfist. Goes a little bit wide with the punch and won't find the pick. Lava on the ball is able to find Wub here, and they're looking to try and grind this out. They've got the players on the point. They've got the Wrecking Ball. They've got the Lucio. They've got the Tracer here to try and grind this out. But the respawns are coming in thick. They're coming in fast. They're coming in hard. They're punching. They're poking. Revival desperately trying to keep their hands on the payload, and they do it. That payload will not complete. A scant handful of meters away from the end of point C.
Phil, I don't know if I could get any farther out of my chair than I was there, right there, as they were trying to battle back and forth. Regen trying everything they could to take the last bit of progress there, but absolutely denied by Vite Ramen. You love to see this coming out.
Man, what a... Billy, I'm really sorry, buddy. We thought we'd gotten rid of that doppelganger, but he is, in fact, back. We'll do what we can to get that fixed again. It seems like we just get a little bit more time each time between attacks. But man, yeah, kind of hard to say there. Like it was a phenomenal defense out from Revival. It was a phenomenal recon test coming back from Regen. They threw so much at that, and Ship was so close to getting another one of those clutch gravitic fluxes, and it just didn't work out for him here. Looks like we still haven't got Billy back in. So we're going to see Revival with their go here on the offense. Regen managed, frankly, staggering offensive time. One push and done for them. The Revival need to replicate that, or at the very least, avoid being subjected to that same aggressive point behold that we saw Revival able to mount on this one. Apologies, guys, as well as... losing Billy here. I appear to be having my own trouble with the feed here. Again, hopefully you guys aren't suffering through that the same way I am, but we'll try and get this ironed out as quickly as we can. A little bit hard to catch the action through this. Hope you'll bear with us. the early TP out from Wub just to buy a bit of space as they come in and rotate through Lost Vikings up on the left-hand side. There's an early predict here out from Regen. They're actually holding that lower right-hand side to try and get a bit of spam damage through. Watch as they try and rotate back through points. It's like Wub's going to try and take a high ground angle here, toe-to-toe with Chopper for now. Chopper getting the better of that exchange. Mostly trying to go just off ult percentage here, but Chopper's incredibly quick at generating these ultimates, and Wub caught out in the line of fire. Assumably, that's going to be a shield bash, and CJ with the follow-up damage to deal with him. So this is not going to be the same blistering offense that we saw come through from Regen. Revival going to have to go back to spawn and rethink this because they're not going to get that equalizer frag anytime soon. And right now, all they're doing is securing that Chopper is going to have this blade ready to go in the next fight. Apologies, guys. We are working on getting this fixed for you as soon as we can. Unfortunately, technology is a cruel, cruel mistress, and she's really putting us through the ringer today. We'll do what we can. Look at an ults available here. We will, of course, have the mirrored amplification matrix, and Aspen and Magic Meatball pretty much in lockstep here for generating this rally. So those two ults likely to neutralize each other here, and in fact, CJ and Lai are both out with that amplification matrix to start things off here. Looking for maybe a lucky shot through here for either one of these DPS. About to see the Chopper Blade come online one more time. Amplification Matrix is going to save a couple of them here, and Aspire starting to find some value. The second push through here from Revival is what does it. They make the breakthrough, they make their way onto the point, and they're looking to get an early cap here. Still no signs of Billy, still soldiering on here with the drop frames. Going to see Wub here with a blade ready to go in this next fight. Could be good here, paired with the supercharger from Moopy, just to really burn through this high ground defense. But Regen, they've got ults of their own to be playing with here. They're not going to have the blade this time, but Chopper has been very quick at generating it. Instead, they're going to start things out here with the supercharger from the high ground. Hopefully going to discourage Wub from getting up close and personal with that Dragon Blade. They're going to have to wait this one out because there's too big a risk here of having this Dragon Blade cancelled out. Still Wub looking for an angle here. The cart's still rolling through. High ground position not being given up by Regen, but no real team fight here. No real attempt to try and stall out the cart. Moopy kicks things off with the supercharger, but it's immediately dealt with. And in fact, the immortality went out from CJ as well. Amplification Matrix now out from Lai. A little hard to see where that's going, but it looks like we've got a high ground fight here as Wub brings out the sword. Chopper gets his own online here, and he's already found the dash reset onto Aspen. Gets another one onto Aspire, and it is the Chopper story right now. The second this guy gets his blade online, that spells curtains for Revival. Okay, it looks like we're taking a little bit longer to fix this than we really thought. But, you know, looking at the ults we've got available here for Revival, they're in a pretty good position if they can get some of these ults comboed. You know, the Gravitic Flux to lift everybody up in the air and the Bob underneath to try and do some of that pre-damage. Will at the very least get them in range of getting a couple of picks. But they've got to use them quick here because the longer they leave this, the bigger the risk of Chopper getting another one of these incredibly quick blades online is. We already see him outpacing Wub in this race to the blade. They're looking to take up a position on the cart here and just ignore this high ground position and try and roll it through. Chopper's going to get stunned down. Aspen was going to take them down in this one. Flux is out as well, and the kills now starting to mount up here for Regen. If they can keep this tempo up, it's looking really good here for a point B cap with a fairly impressive time bank, and that's going to be getting the pick onto CJ, and it's looking like we're not going to see much by way of a recontest here as Revival start to move that payload on into point C. They're going to get that cap, and we've now got 3 minutes and 20 seconds for Revival to push this more or less all the way to the end of point C. Regen looks like they finally found their pace here, though. Amplification Matrix into Amplification Matrix here, and Boat finding the early pick. It's going to dull the attack here. Revival aren't going to be able to push in without that additional shield ability that we get from Salty, without the accretion that we get from Salty. Just that pure sheer frontline presence that we get out of them means they're going to have to wait out here. So there's going to be another 30 seconds burned off the clock here by Regen. Looking to see another Supercharger Dragonblade combo potentially here from Moopy and Wub. Ship's going to use that Gravitic Flux early, but that's just going to allow Regen to heal their way, so Revival to heal their way back up. Out comes the Dragonblade. It's a dub for Wood, but he will get focused down by the Bob. However, Revival starting to get their names up in the left-hand side of that kill feed, and the cart's going to start rolling. Wood's going to be back in this incredibly quickly, and we're looking at another Bob here. We're looking at another Gravitic Flux here. Aspen nearly with that rally online. Liar almost with that Amplification Matrix online, and with 2 minutes to go on the clock here, Revival looking cool, calm, and collected on this point, ready to keep it going. Regen are going to have to rely on Chopper getting the mother of all Dragon Blades here for them to make this happen. It comes out, and it's a good start. Aspire's going to be taken down straight away. We see the immortality of it, and Chopper's done it. He's found a way to blunt this attack, and he's bought time for the rest of the team to get ultimates online. Regen are not out of this fight just yet. They found their groove. They found a way to cycle through ultimates, and they may manage the hold here. This card drastically close to getting in for Revival. They've not got to do much, but now they've only got the Bob and the rally to make this happen. And 1 minute 20 seconds might not be enough for some of these other key ultimates to come online. Watch this race. Watch the race between getting to the Dragonblade between Chopper and Wub, because Chopper has been leaping Wub time and again. And with Moopy out of the fight, we're going to see another lost fight here for Revival, unless we get another significant pushback. But Revival are going all in. They've taken Boat out of the equation. They've thrown the Bob into this one. They've got the rally on board from Aspen. They know they've only got to grind this a few meters more, and they know that the battle cattle of Moopy will be clumping their way steadfastly back to point, ready to keep them in this fight as we round the 40-second marker. Whoop, about to get this blade online. Needs to come up big here, needs to duplicate the success that Chopper has found in order for Revival to round this map out and take a 3-1 victory in the series. We're at the 20-second mark. We're looking to negotiate his way up onto the high ground, pull out the blade, sees lava low, able to find Chopper here, but he's got to be careful because the fire comes in from the TNT and puts him into low health territory. But now they're on the car. They're a scant few minutes away from making this work. They don't have the ult, but they've got the kills to make this happen, and that is going to be it for Revival. They ground this out in the final few seconds, and they take the win on Blizzard World. They take the win in the series, and they take another 2 points in Contenders Trials, cementing their position in the upper half of the group.
And I mean, what a great Rap God performance by Big Hungry Phil. Doppelganger Billy finally exercised again. Technology today not being friendly to those of us here at Elo Hell Esports. However, that is a 3-1 series win for Revival. Came down to the wire there in Blizzard World. Really good stuff coming out of Wub and company.
I feel like, we can talk all day about the fact that Revival have ground this out there, but you've got to give a huge amount of credit to Chopper, because he had some of the biggest clutch Dragon Blades of this series. One more Dragon Blade out of him probably would have seen them take this to another map, because those have been so impactful, and his rate of charge on them has been so phenomenal. So as much as I want to give praise to Revival for grinding this one out, there's got to be some kudos thrown the way of Regen.
Absolutely. And also for Boat as well. Boat put in a very wonderful performance on the Southern Belle, getting so many crucial bobs out there. The TNT damage that was coming through. I mean, it just wasn't enough today. I think they ran up against a wall that was Revival on a tear. I think they took Anubis to a little bit personally, and really took it to them on Blizzard World. And I mean, you see the result. It's 3-1. I say, no heads hung low, but they do take the win here, Phil. And now that really solidifies their position going into the weekend.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for them. They've only got 2 more days of groups left, and it's actually the winner after the group stages. The top 2 teams in each group, they're going to be moving up into contenders. And Revive have done a really good job here of putting themselves in that running. A long way from done yet. This is a very, very competitive group. I don't know if you'd call it a group of death, because everyone seems pretty even on this one. And I still, even after 3 days of play, wouldn't like to call how this is going to go. However, for Group B, Billy, that's all we've got time for today. But it's not the end of the broadcast because, of course, there's 2 groups and there is a second game coming up very, very shortly on Group A. So, whilst it's a good night from myself and Billy, we're going to be throwing over to Labosco and Thibble to bring you the second game in the Group A matches. We do hope that you'll be tuning in for that one.